match for a good blaster at your side.
Welcome to Hoagie Religion, the Star Wars podcast. This episode, we are unfortunately talking about the Han Solo movie. Fortunately, the other movies, and the other movies that were announced, and then also the other movies. This is Tyler.
This is Michael.
Welcome to the show, episode 65.
Yay! We're almost done.
We're getting there.
We got that number in mind, and we've almost hit it.
Stick with it for the
remaining
the Big Bang.
This episode.
What are we gonna start talking about this episode, Michael?
I had a list of ideas here.
All right. We're really bad at the fast, quick open. So
yeah.
You know.
So let's.
What do we got? This is now slow. The open
here we
slow.
Go. In my notes from August 3rd, 2015, at 1:09 p.m., I typed presidential polls ?
Wait, how is poll spelled?
How?
Give me an E.
2 L's.
Damn it. Never mind. Not interested. Move on.
No polls.
All right.
There's no. What would a presidential poll be?
That's why I would be interested.
Is this something?
I know what the other thing is, but now I want to know what that one is.
Apparently, I didn't know what the other thing was either.
All right,
because it's in here. We got that. We could talk about Suicide Squad, which had not come out yet.
Is that a note you had?
The new Joker car has a license plate that says "ha ha ha," which means the Joker had to go to the DMV and get "ha ha ha" registered as a valid license plate.
Nope.
We can talk about the Joker being a DMV. That's funny.
It's real funny, guys.
The fake kid city I went to. I feel like I talked about that a long time ago.
Oh yeah, you did.
On-off symbols and how I never know what it means.
How do you not understand on-off symbols?
I don't know. You know how on a power button there's the line?
Sure.
That goes up and down.
Yep.
And then on the other side.
Yes.
So imagine you're looking at a power button.
Yes, I got it. Button or a switch?
A button. Oh shoot.
I'm pretty sure a switch would be the only one that would have those, right?
Imagine you're looking at a power switch. Look to your left.
Switch.
Look to your left. 1 inch.
Oop, got it.
See?
I see.
There's a line.
Okay.
Okay. Now move your eyes over 2 inches.
Yes.
Got that?
This is a circle.
Yeah, there's a circle.
Right. So
what does that mean? Why are those there? And what happens?
My understanding is that the circle is a closed circuit and the line is an open circuit, therefore power. But I could just be talking out of my ass, and I have no idea.
Okay, so it's confusing to you also.
So we have a podcast that gets recorded and makes its way with power. Do you just
there is power involved?
Do you just hit stuff until lights come on?
Yes.
Is that all you're doing?
There is. The symbols are on the back of the thing over there. I can't see.
Yeah.
It's on the thing.
So do you just flip stuff until lights come on?
The thing,
or there's smoke.
The thing the stuff goes through to go into the others.
Yeah, the sound box.
Yeah, the sound box.
Yeah, I got it.
You talk into the sound box.
Yeah.
There's a little switch on the back of the sound box that has these symbols.
Sure.
You flip it until the lights come on.
All right.
What do the symbols mean?
Rapidly back and forth until there's smoke and there's lights.
Yeah,
all right.
That's what you do.
And that's why we have to buy a new...
That's how I make dinner. That's how I make love. That's how...
On, off!
Until the smoke and the lights happen. That's how it works, right?
Sure.
Do you know what the on-off... I don't know if you're right about that. I don't know. I don't know if that's right. But they've always confused me, and I never know which one is which. Like when you're looking at a power strip and you haven't plugged it in yet, and you want it to turn on as soon as you plug it in. You know how that happens every time you use a power switch?
It's kind of like a USB. It's kind of like a USB where no matter which way you turn it, it doesn't work until you look at it and then do it. Yeah.
Yes.
It's just that with the power symbols.
Yes.
All right.
The meaning switches depending on what you want to happen.
I have never had that problem.
Never?
With the power symbols? No.
It's always been what you expected to happen when you flip the switch.
Yeah, circle is off and a line is on.
Are you sure that's right?
Yes.
I don't know if that's right. On. Are you sure?
Yes.
How does that make sense though? What is a circle? A circle is...
It's a circle, so O for off. I have no idea. I don't know why.
An I for, is this on?
Instant power!
O for off?
I have no
idea.
An
I for instant power.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
It's,
I can remember that.
Yeah.
All right. But if the power goes into the circle, it goes around in the circle, which means it's on, right? Like Iron Man. The power
Power's running in a circle
circle
like a hamster and putting out power, and that's how things work.
I know. Whereas if you're on a line, you fall off the line and there's no more power.
I have no idea. I don't know why.
Well,
I can't answer you. I'm sorry.
That's in a note called podcast topics. Question mark, question mark, question mark. I also have what if raptors evolved from birds? I have a note with a GIF in it of a guy just saying yes.
All right, your notes are crap. They've done nothing for us.
I have a note with my FEMA account. After the hurricane hit, I put a note in there just in case.
Great. I'm glad your notes have been of use, at least for the power symbol switch question. Thank you for your time.
I have a note in here called Lobot Facts.
Facts?
Lobot Facts.
Like facts about Lobot.
A fax machine.
Oh, facts?
It's literally a fax.
Interesting.
To send to Lobot.
No, facts. Does his headband? There's like...
Is that a fax machine?
Paper.
It kind of looks like a fax machine. The back of it does.
Sure.
With the lights and everything. Isn't there even like a little slit in the back?
Sure.
Does Lobot wear a fax machine?
That's how Lando does his business faxes.
That makes sense. Why he always has Lobot
shoves
with
it in
him.
Lobot's mouth, and then it faxes and comes out the back. That's how that works. Sure, why not?
If I type in Lobot fax and hit the first image, there's an image comes up that says commercial Lobot.
All right, confirmed.
Commercial Lobot.
Confirmed. Lobot is a business and is also into
faxing. A fax machine.
Sure.
Yikes,
why not?
This guy comes up. What the heck is wrong with that guy?
He looks like Lobot.
Bald. That's like old Lobot, dude.
All right, Michael. Star Wars films.
That enough? So no Lobot facts? I have several here.
I think we should save those for next time that we're out of ideas.
Oh, well, I think it's pretty
so
obvious
like
we're out of ideas
in like
right
half
now.
An hour from right now.
Oh, I also have my trash can warranty number, registration number out here. I have a warranty on my trash can.
How important is your trash can that it has a warranty?
How what?
How important is your trash can that it has a warranty?
It's very important, apparently.
Also, what?
Also, what? Yes.
How does it stop trash canning to need a warranty? Do you like punch the bottom out so it can't hold trash anymore? So you need to use the warranty because it's no longer a trash can.
It's a pedal trash can. So if you like hold the top and you push the pedal really hard, it breaks the thing, so it can't go up anymore.
So that's covered by the warranty.
Yeah.
Great.
So when you do that,
so when you forcefully destroy your trash can,
you have a warranty for your trash can.
Submit it, the warranty. Great.
Well, I could read off my registration number. Was that fill enough time? No?
No. I think we should probably now talk about Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
All right. So, Michael, Han Solo movie.
I just realized all the people that are going to complain about that whole thing.
Your trash can warranty?
Yep.
Just specifically that. Yeah.
So I have recipe dinner ideas. We can go over that.
No. How excited are you?
We can go IMDb time. We haven't done that in a while.
We haven't even gotten to any topic yet.
Okay, that's true. We should probably get to a topic and then I can go IMDb.
Let's avoid that.
Should I hit my air horn?
So has your excitement changed for Han Solo at all?
Should I hit my air horn?
Hit it.
Sound?
Does that express your excitement for the Han Solo film?
It's so long.
It is long.
That's it.
Stop it. How do you feel?
What are we saying?
You're not into this at all.
I like this air horn.
You're done. You're done before the podcast started.
Han Solo.
Has your excitement and or lack thereof changed?
After what?
Days.
After the last time we talked about this.
Span of time.
No.
Not at all.
No. It's forgettable at this point.
All right, so last episode
we talked so much about
last episode we took a big old shit on it right before the trailer came out.
Yes.
Which did come out during the Super Bowl, which you all know that happened long ago, and we record bi-weekly, and just screw you. So the teaser for the teaser trailer was fantastic. I loved it. I was excited. Like, oh my gosh, I'm ready for this movie now.
Yes.
It looks great.
Yes.
And that happened
Sunday night.
And then Monday was the Super Bowl.
So nope. Sports stuff happened on Sunday. The teaser aired during the Super Bowl.
That looked amazing.
That was on Sunday.
Then on Monday,
the
Good
full
Morning
trailer.
America, I think is where it was.
Something.
It was the
Who
full
cares?
trailer.
Who cares?
Teaser trailer, great, fantastic. It looked dark. It looked cool. It looked great.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Done. I was in for it, and wonderful. Let's go see Han Solo.
Uh-huh.
Then the trailer happened, and I was out. Right back out.
Immediately,
like, oh, never mind. False hope.
Was there anything...
Screw that.
I'll ask you this, because I think I have an answer. Was there anything specific in the trailer that made you... like, that's it for me?
So the teaser, like I said, was like dark, and there was like some really cool shots of the Millennium Falcon and that like wormhole thing, and it looked.
But that was in the full trailer too.
Yes, it looked grittier and darker within that concise thing because there was less information.
Well, for me, it was the shot of the. It was like, space Grand Central Station, whatever that was. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where Han is signing up at the Empire, supposedly.
Right.
That's what we're supposed to believe. That and then the train. And they're fighting on top of the train, which wasn't in the full trailer.
Right. Yeah, they're fighting on top of the train, and
I tweeted,
it looked cool.
And I tweeted about this. It made me think immediately Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah, it looked dark. It looked cool. I don't know. It looked darker than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
As far as like a gritty, more like, I don't know.
Yeah.
A dirtier film.
And then the full trailer comes out, and it opens with Han talking. Mistake number one. No.
People complain a lot about him, and I feel bad for the guy because
I think the guy's gonna be great. I think
the guy's gonna be good. I think
a great job
that
Han.
He can't be Han Solo like exactly like you want him to be. He's not going to sound exactly like him. I think his voice, the character voice for it sounds fine.
Right. I
think that's fine,
joking.
Even though people are complaining completely about him.
I was joking. I think
it's
he's doing a good job.
Not him. It was the things he was saying.
Yes.
That was
exactly.
The problem.
He started talking about how he's been grifting people on the streets.
Most of the things we've complained about
scamming
before knowing
people.
anything about this movie was what happened in the trailer.
Scamming people on the street since he was.
They always told me I couldn't be anybody.
Yeah.
But now I'm gonna be anybody.
I'm gonna have it.
Which is all of the jokes we were making about this movie was that. Like, I'm Han Solo. And this is just like, they always told me I couldn't do anything. I'm a good pilot and I'm gonna do a thing. And it was Han Solo Ocean's 11.
I'll go prove myself to everybody.
Then you got
I'm greedy Han Solo.
You got Woody Harrelson saying, "Oh, we're putting together a team.
Putting together a team. We're going to have to job."
They said I couldn't be anybody, but now I'm going to be somebody on your team."
Yeah, that means yes. He said yes because he's a Wookiee, but you don't understand him.
People will probably hate us because all we want to do is make fun of this movie because it's so easy.
I know.
But yeah, that's what happened is the trailer came out and it was just like, oh, it's every other summer movie. It's Star Wars Maze Runner. They told me I couldn't do a thing and I'm going to do the thing and you're going to watch it this summer. It's me doing things.
It's exactly what you were saying it was back before we even had the trailer. You said it was Guardians of the Galaxy,
like,
Star
Wars. Back when I
Wars.
first heard that it was Chris and Phil, I was complaining on the show how all I could picture was Star Wars Guardians of the Galaxy because of them. And ta-da! That seems like what it is.
It's just the whole putting together a team thing. And you know what bothers me the most is he was talking about how he got kicked out of flight school for having a mind of my own. Yeah. I got kicked out because I'm a unique snowflake.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the problem. And the teaser was like, oh shit, the Imperial Academy stuff, and like, oh, fighting on a train, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, really cool wormhole thing with an amazing shot of a Star Destroyer, and like, oh, this is so cool, and like, that's the story I definitely wanted. And it's like, oh wait, that's probably going to be a flashback, and this is Ocean's 11, the Star Wars movie, and it's a train heist. It's a train heist Star Wars film with a team. And they're probably going to stuff an Asian guy into a duffel bag to get into a small area. Great.
No. Yeah, I don't know.
Except for it'll be an alien that has an Asian accent. It'll be a Nemoidian they stuff in a duffel bag.
Oh no.
It's impossible! I cannot fit a duffel bag!
This is bad.
That was not an Asian impression. That was a Nemoidian impression.
Sure.
Gonna make that very clear.
Oh shoot. Which one's an Nemoidian again?
The guys. Now there are two of them.
Oh shoot. Why? I was thinking of Weak Ways.
This is getting out of hand.
I was thinking of Weak
guys.
Ways.
Oh,
the
God,
guys
yeah.
on the gang guys.
The space Asians that are in Star Wars, the Nemoidians.
The ones, okay. It's okay because it was already racist.
Yeah, sure.
We didn't do that first.
Yeah, it made itself racist prior to now.
Man,
Yeah,
I
so
completely forgot about those guys. Wow.
it was.
I have not watched.
How can you ever forget that?
I keep arguing that the Phantom Menace is good, and I still legitimately think that, but I forget about
There are
those
space
aliens.
Asians that are Nemoidians, and there are space Jews that are Zwano,
Jesus.
and that's that. That was in a movie that people still love.
It's not good.
Anyways, so yeah, they're gonna stuff a Nemoidian in a duffel bag to get into the train's safe. Because the train has a safe.
Do you think there's literally going to be a safe on this train?
I am like 80% sure there will be a safe in the movie that they have to break into at some point.
Do you think this all ties to the Kessel Run? Do you think the cargo...
Is the Kessel Run an accident?
Or do you think this is the job that Jabba hired him for that eventually got the price on his head? Or is that too
Interesting.
far in the future? Or is this, this too far in the past for that?
But he's doing the job for Beckett,
happened.
who is Woody Harrelson's character, right? He's joining Beckett's team.
Yeah, and what's...
Is Beckett doing it for Jabba, and then everybody else dies, and Han's the only one left?
Yeah, I
so
guess that's
Jabba
a good
takes it
point.
out on
Jabba
him?
would have had a price on, or he had a price on Han directly, so I doubt.
Right. So if that whole space thing with the wormhole,
That's
and
right,
the-
because he
and
had
the
he had a
squids-
cargo full of spice and he dumped it. That was the story.
Right. So if the Kessel Run is that whole like wormhole thing with the space squids and the Star Destroyer,
Yeah.
if that's the Kessel Run, so was the Kessel Run by accident from him running away from the Empire? Like it wasn't him trying to do the Kessel Run?
Yeah, that's what I don't know. I was thinking for some reason.
Or there's going to be one point in the film and they're like, there's only one way out of this. We have to make the Kessel Run.
They looked directly at the camera.
Wink, 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 wink. Everyone, all 5 characters in the Falcon Bridge are winking.
All
at
I
the
can think
camera.
about is it's a shot from behind everybody on the Falcon's cockpit, and they're like looking at each other, and they say that, and then everybody at the same
Turns
time turns
around.
around and looks at the camera for like 5 seconds. This is catchphrases the movie. I'm telling you.
That's all we keep saying, but like the teaser set me up for like, oh, this is gonna be so much better. And then the trailer was like, oh, it's exactly what I thought it was, where it's space heist.
Yeah, so I guess
It's space heist the movie with references.
yeah.
Woo.
Which I guess, I mean, what else would it be?
So I was super excited to be excited about it, and then I was instantly just pimp slapped down by the hand of bad writing.
I don't know. We can't say that yet.
I know. I can't in good conscience have good feelings about this movie. I just can't. I cannot bring myself to care about it. I still can't.
Is this becoming like the Rebels
No,
for
it's not
us
that bad.
again?
It's not that bad.
Yeah, I agree. It's
See,
not.
this is fun to make fun of. Rebels is just bad.
That's why we never talk about it.
Right. We don't talk about it because it's not fun to be angry about it.
You know we're gonna.
This at this point is fun to be angry about, and I really hope after we see it, we have a podcast episode where we're like, "Oh, we were so wrong,"
I was just gonna
or that we
say.
could be like, "Oh, we were so right. That was so stupid and hilarious."
Either way, we'll have fun.
Right.
It's all about
I
the fun.
don't have fun watching Rebels. I will have
The
fun
laughs.
with making fun of this beforehand and or after the fact.
Afterhand.
Afterhand. Is that if you
Before
can
the
have-
hand and after the
If you
hand.
can have a beforehand, what then is after?
Afterhand. We just
Is
said
that is that
Is that real?
is that real?
I don't know.
It's the on off.
I don't know. Yeah, it's the on-off conversation again. I don't know.
Great.
I'm not as confused by English as I am weird symbols that don't make any sense.
Symbols. We tweeted out about like seeing what other people thought about the trailer and everything, and at Steven_G thought that agreed that the teaser looked way better, but the trailer was better than expected, I guess. And then at KG3030 just said they're excited for Lando, which I mean that is one of the only things I'm excited about is to have Lando, because I think that Donald Glover will do an amazing job being Lando.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. I think the guy who's playing Han, Alden, is going to be good. Donald Glover is definitely going to be good as Lando.
The guy that plays Chewbacca has already been good as Chewbacca.
There's the girl I don't know anything about.
Thandi Newton?
Huh?
Oh, wait. Which one? No,
the main one.
Game of Thrones?
Yeah, the Game of Thrones girl. I can forget her name now.
Lady.
The dragon lady. She's going to be, I don't know, whatever.
I can't remember her name.
She has a secret about Han. Who knows what that's probably going to be.
They've had some relationship in the past, crossing paths and messing with each other.
The other girl
always screws him over or something.
The other girl, Thandi Newton, I mean, we only saw that quick little shot, but she looked pretty badass.
Yeah.
So I don't know who she is or what she's going to do, but okay. Looks badass, so all right. Yeah, and there's this droid with this stupid name.
And Lando, and we've seen stuff about Donald talking about playing Sabak and all that, so that'll all be super cool, and I'm sure we'll probably see the game where he loses the Falcon to Han, and
it's
all going to be in there. But like you just mentioned, we really need to talk about this droid.
Do we?
Oh yeah.
Do we have to?
Because
let me say real quick, the one thing
I'm real salty about this droid. More salty than I am about the movie.
As salty as you are about the droid, I'm salty about. So yeah, Han has this backstory now of, he's
maybe having been
out of the Imperial Academy for doing stuff. And how does that work out with, I think, what's canon, officially canon, with him and Chewbacca? That story of why Chewbacca owes a life debt to Han.
Is the life debt canon? Well, not. I know the life debt
is,
but the why of how that happened, of him freeing him from.
I mean, by this point, it has to be, right?
That was all in Legends.
I know, but it's been around for so long, and I feel like it's been referenced before, hasn't it?
I don't want that just to be like a flashback, like, oh, I saved him from a thing. That's it. Like, that's just like mentioned. That's why.
I mean, was it Bloodlines or something else where the life debt was specifically mentioned, or is Aftermath, right?
I think so.
Did it say anything? Of course, I didn't read that book. I don't
think anything has said why the life debt.
But it was confirmed there was a life debt.
Yeah, we know there's a life debt. But obviously the Legends canon long ago was that Han was in the Empire, and the Wookiees were being enslaved, and he set a bunch of them free and got out.
He was an officer on Kashyyyk, and something happened to where he freed Chewbacca and got kicked out of the academy.
One guy was beating the shit out of some Wookiees,
yeah,
and he couldn't take it anymore. And
so does that with him
Mm-hmm.
signing up to be a pilot, according to this trailer,
right?
Is that still happening?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't want them to mess with that.
Yeah, that would be difficult.
For this to be like, references the movie and have this stupid Ocean's 11 story, and then also throw out this canon that we've had for so long.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't mad about Jason and Jaina going. I wasn't mad about like the Yuzon Vong stuff going away and all this other stuff that was in the EU. I wasn't too angry about any of that.
All that was like, there was so many crazy stories and all of that, but like there's just this little thing that's always been why the Han and Chewie relationship.
In everything that's mentioned Han and Chewie, yeah. I mean, I haven't read everything.
And I don't want it to just be a throwaway, like, oh yeah, that's what happened. The end. Like, I want to see that be the thing that happens.
But you want to see it exactly as it was?
The creative license. I would want it to be that he freed him from
slavery,
something like that. Yeah, on
Kashyyyk.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or it doesn't even have to be on Kashyyyk. It could be on a Imperial ship or something.
So I mean, this, it's
that's what I want.
It's references the movie, but that is the one thing where I actually want to see.
Right.
I don't really care about the Kessel Run and how it happened. The Falcon, I get it. He won it in a game. Do we really need to see that? I don't know.
Sure. Why it
blah
looks,
blah blah.
Why it looks different? Who knows? They put out, and
But how Han and Chewie get together. That is the one thing I want to see.
That's important. That's intrinsic to their characters and their relationship.
Yes, absolutely.
Anything else can happen after that point with the space train and the heist and whatever.
Yeah.
But like that means something to how they've always interacted with everything we've ever known.
Right. So that's what I'm salty about. I hope that doesn't change. So what are you salty about?
So the droid, that is Lando's droid.
Stupid droid.
Which is not Lobot. It's not a young Lobot. Which we already have the canon story of Lobot.
Do we? We do?
I think was it in the Lando comics? I thought it was in the Lando comics, but now you're making me doubt myself.
I thought Lando comics picked up after Cloud City was invaded.
I don't know. I think it would have been interesting to have Lobot as a man, and then something happened, and then him become the Lobot.
The portable fax machine.
Right. But nope, we've got a droid who looks...
Oh, shoot. What if the droid is Lobot? And they just put skin on him.
No. So you got the droid who looks like it's out of District 9, kind of. Like a cheap District 9.
Oh, really? Are you thinking of Chappie?
Or Chappie.
Same
guy. It's the same director.
No, but it's different stuff.
It's Neil Blomkamp, right?
Yeah, but one's insects and one's robots. You're talking about a robot, right? Chappie was robots.
Sure, whatever. It looks like Star Wars Chappie.
It looks like a robot.
Star Wars Chappie.
Okay.
It's Star Wars Chappie. With the hand symbols, the hand signals, and whatever. But its name is...
Why you do this? Why? Why you do this?
So its name, and no one has phonetically spelled it out or like said how it's spelled or how it's said. Because God help me, the moment they do, the salt is going even higher.
What's the name of the robot?
Its name is LE-E7.
L3.
L3-37.
Yeah.
So Leet. The droid is Leet.
The droid is named Leet.
If they literally say that, if that is said,
you're gonna punch a hole through the theater screen.
I'm gonna go get a large hammer, and like the old Apple commercial, I'm gonna run down the aisle and then swing it up and through. Right. I'll come back in like leg warmers and like the tracksuit with a large hammer.
Stand swinging the hammer around.
Right.
While everybody just watches you.
So everything that's been said and all the articles and everything has been L3-37, which is Leet, which is a thing in the world that I live in that does not need to be...
It
does not need to be fisted into my Star Wars.
It's like if Kylo Ren was dabbing in The Last Jedi.
Yeah, got her. I don't need Haxor Leet speak in my Star Wars movie. I don't need it. I don't. Is it trying to be relatable?
Leet Haxor.
Because I
don't know.
So, so Kasdan wrote this movie, right?
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Lawrence wrote it with his son, John.
He could not have come up with that name.
Lawrence? Or his son?
I guess his son, maybe his son's an asshole. I don't know who the asshole is.
I don't know if we should be calling out this writer that's been with Star Wars
any of the Kasdans?
Since Empire.
So far, I 100% blame Chris and Phil for this. Even though they're not attached, I feel like they came up with that name because only they would do that to me and my heart.
John Kasdan wrote for Freaks and Geeks, and he wrote for Dawson's Creek.
Oh, never mind. But and people told me I was tweeting about it because I was super salty when I found out, and people were like telling me to calm down. Star Wars names are always stupid, and Star Wars is stupid, and not in a bad way. Like Star Wars has always been silly and fun, and what I completely agree. Star Wars has always been super silly.
This crosses a line though beyond.
There's space Asians that are Nemoidians. I get it. Star Wars has always been silly and too much at times, and I get that. But this is to me personally, having grown up in that pile of shit that is Haxor Leet speak as a teenager, with all of the stupid people doing that, it
You're
it
gonna start
feels
seeing
like a personal.
rufflecopters
It feels
flying
like
around.
yes, it feels like a personal attack on my well-being. That there's a droid named Leet, and if anyone calls him Leet at any point in the movie, I'm gonna let out a audible sigh in the theater, just a Ugh! And then everyone will stare at me and be like, "What's your problem, dude?" And that I've just, at least I'll feel better about myself that I did that, because I can't. It makes
that
me.
you got it out.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can't. I don't like it. I don't.
It's bad. Like I said, it crosses a line of references to this world that doesn't need to be crossed.
Which, I mean,
like
you
we've
could
already
argue the same with Hello Asti because of Hello Nasty and the Beastie Boys, I guess. But that was not a main character by any stretch of the imagination.
But and
Whereas
it's not
Leet will be in this movie most of the entire time because he's part of the crew.
It'd be like having a character named Logan Paul in the movie. Or have Will Wheaton being himself.
At what point are they going to be taking duck face selfies with a data pad that we just have to cut ourselves out of Star Wars and be done with it? This is
the line. That's
this
the
is
final
that
line.
First step to that data pad selfie stick that's coming.
Oh no.
That's maybe that's why I'm so frustrated that it's that, like you said, it's like crossing the line with my world of with a stupid part of my world to Star Wars and being too heavy-handed of a reference to like ha droid Leet hee, and that's just how sure. That's all I had to say about it. There's no conversation to have. I'm just salty and angry about it. Like I've been salty and angry about this movie from the get-go. It just enforces it, so it just fuels me even more to be angrier.
All right, I'm gonna throw out a couple more quick points, and we can stop talking about this stupid thing. Or I guess all of our notes are about Han Solo. Well, not all of them. All right, one.
There's some good notes about Han Solo.
Han. It's established in, I guess you could say in Legends up to now, but Han was always a swoop racer, right?
Yeah.
He raced swoops.
Motorcycle.
Now he's driving around in speeders.
Sure.
In little cars.
Baby Driver did well in theaters. Therefore, space cars.
Why? Why can't it just be swoops? Why does it have to be cars now? Why does it have to be speeders?
I don't know.
There's that. That's it. I thought I had another one. I did have another one.
Well, yeah,
that's
I
it.
mean, so there's that. And then, I don't know, I want it to be good. I keep saying that every episode. I want it to be good. But we have found out there's some light in the darkened tunnel of Han Solo. There's a novel coming out that sounds really good. It was announced today as of this recording. There's a novel called Last Shot, which is going to cover 3 eras. First with Lando and L3, because I'm not going to call it lead anymore. The first is Lando and L3, which is prior to the movie Solo, so their thing prior to Solo. Then Han and Chewie between Solo and New Hope. And then finally Han, Leia, and young Ben following the events of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So that
this sounds
super
legitimately
interesting.
good. Yeah. I've wanted that story. The story of Ben. I hope we get
We've
the story
gotten
of
so
how,
little about it.
I hope we get more about how Ben was seduced in there. Well, you know.
How did that man seduce him?
I'm asking for a friend.
How'd you do it? Yeah, no,
How
so
he was seduced and how he
in
went
the
away
Leia
with
novel,
Luke and
like
all
in the
that.
Leia novel, A Bloodline, like you got references to him being with Luke, and that's it. But
And
like
that-
this, this is after Return of the Jedi, so
Yeah.
he'll be young. He'll be
Before
little.
Han and Leia separate.
Yeah, so it'll probably show what happens as to why they separate, him not thinking he's a good father or whatever. I don't know if it'll go into the seduction.
Well, it was
of
like Han was
Snoke.
getting stir crazy, and Leia was always busy with the Senate and with the New Republic and stuff.
right.
I think that was the deal. But yeah, so
So we're getting a whole like a novel about it.
yeah,
So
and the
that's cool.
stuff about Han and Chewie before A New Hope, that sounds kind of interesting.
Which could be what you're talking about with like the Jabba
Yeah,
contract thing.
maybe
Whatever that adventure was and why they have to dump the spice.
that timeline makes more sense than having that happen way back.
Maybe that should be the movie.
Well, now we're just talking about having to. Now Rebels has to be involved, right? Because that's around the same timeline, isn't it? Is this the last season of Rebels that's about
Yes,
to air?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's about to be done.
Are you gonna watch it?
I will probably sit through all of it after it's all done and off the.
I think you
Yeah.
have only watched the finale of season 2 so far.
No,
right?
I watched all of season 1
Oh, you watched all
and
of it.
half
Okay.
of season 2, and then I gave up because I couldn't take it.
I watched all of both seasons,
Okay.
and then I think some of the third. I can't remember how much I got through it. I still
I'm
don't like
sure
it.
I'll watch them all at
So
some
you can't
point.
say, you can't come up to me and say,
You didn't watch it. Why
yo, there's things you're missing about it. It's actually a pretty good show. You just gotta stick with it,
I
man.
really tried.
I've stuck with it for 2.5 seasons now, and I still think it's a bad show.
But
I haven't seen any
you
of
could argue that the
end
first
of-
2 seasons of Clone Wars was not great. It was better than Rebels.
I feel like Rebels has been around just as long as Clone Wars for some reason. Is that not true? Was Clone Wars really
the amount
around
of
for that
seasons?
long?
It was like 6, wasn't it?
5 or 6. I think 5, and then 6 was like the lost.
Isn't Rebels on their 6th season?
Wasn't 6 like the lost Netflix episodes or something?
Kind of, yeah. Some of them.
So it was what, at least 5 years?
Yeah, sure.
Mm.
The first 2 seasons of Clone Wars were rough until they started having those like really good long arcs that weren't just like one-shot episodes about like whatever happened that day.
It got good halfway through season 2, or towards the
Yeah,
end.
but I'm
of
saying
season 2.
it took our first 2 seasons to like get into it.
Sure, all right, that's fine.
But I don't. I will try to watch all of Rebels just to have done it after it's off TV, just so I can just like power through it and be done. I don't want to have to wait for anything Rebels to happen for me to watch it. I don't want to be. I don't care enough.
Yeah, so I did watch enough of it. I feel like I watched enough of it.
Enough to
Talk about it,
right?
but
I
enough to
decided
know
it
that I
wasn't
don't
for
like
me. It definitely was not for me.
no. For
But
little
whatever.
kids.
So, something else we had talked about previously with the Han Solo shake-up with Chris and Phil. Chris and Phil getting.
Hold on.
I should never have given you that power.
I gave myself this power.
Ugh.
I have so much
So
more on
we
here.
talked about.
I
With
have
Chris,
so much more I could play on here.
No,
I've only played one sample.
that's good
There's
for
so
now.
much more. All right.
We talked about Chris and Phil getting canned, and like, will we ever get the story or like what actually happened, and not just creative differences?
Mm-hmm.
And I really never expected them to say anything else about it. I didn't expect
yeah.
Kathleen or anyone to say anything
For
about
any
it.
details about it to
Right.
come out, even though we both wanted that, and I'm sure everybody else.
And
did.
so Kathleen was asked directly recently about it, what really what happened?
Yeah.
And Kathleen like straight up said, "I think these guys are hilarious, but they come from a background of animation and sketch comedy, and when you are making these movies, you can do that, and there's plenty of room for improvisation. We do that all the time. But it has to be inside of a highly structured process, or you can't get the work done, and you can't move the armies of
Yeah.
people to anticipate and have things ready. So it literally came down to process, just getting it done.
Yeah.
There comes a point when there's only so much you can do, and then you have to take a different course, and that's where we ended up. So it's not like there's anything I can really add to it, because the last thing I want to do is, quote, reopen a wound.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. These are really great guys, and nobody wanted this to happen. It was just one of those unfortunate things.
Yeah. It all sounds completely reasonable, and
So really, what all the rumors were saying was they were doing so much improv, and they couldn't stick to the timeline or stick to what was written.
yeah. What was it we were saying
Like
when it first came
they were
out? that-
trying to play around too much, like you do with improv movies, like Jump Street, or doing a
Yeah, and
animation
it started to
film.
veer off of an established story. Like the improv was allowed to continue so much. I guess it started to veer off these story beats they needed to be hitting. So it
Yeah.
was like they were having to bend backwards to try to make it all make sense, and it just wasn't working.
Right.
So it all, I mean, it's,
And when you
it
have
sounds,
when you have a Lucasfilm Disney timeline for films,
yeah,
where like stuff needs to happen and be done by this time for this movie to come out, and you have this huge giant budget of a film. It's not like Jump Street, where the point of the movie is to be silly and be improv, and you have that time,
I
and you
guess
build
so.
that time into the schedule.
yeah.
Whereas this is like, here's a story that was written by Lawrence Kasdan. Do this movie. Thank you. Like that. It just sounded like they were goofing off too much, I guess. Maybe they haven't been in that type of environment or that kind of that caliber of production, I guess.
Yeah.
And they just couldn't direct it that tightly because they're used to a different format.
Yeah. It also sounds like they I lost my train of thought. Cool. I'm a great podcast host. I don't know what I was gonna say.
I think it's very interesting, and it makes completely sense. It makes
Completely sense.
It's completely sensible what Kathleen's decision was, and it all falls in line with what was being rumored. And there was all these rumors and talk about like, oh, this is what happened, or that's what happened, or I bet this happened. And I'm glad she actually literally said something. Is like they're great, but we have a process, and when you can't have this amount of, she didn't say it off like directly, but when you have this amount of money and this amount of people working on something, you got to stick to the process.
Yeah.
And they weren't doing it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it from this quote and the one there was a one before that. I can't remember where that came out, but maybe it was the first statement released after the news broke. But talking about how they tried everything they could to keep this on track and to keep Phil and Chris involved, and there was just a lot of fighting happening, and I think she said like personality conflicts or something like that at some point. There's a personality conflict between them and Lawrence.
Because Lawrence writes movies. You then make the movies that Lawrence writes.
Right. And they were trying to keep Phil and Chris's style still in the movie. And I think Ron Howard in this article says something about that. That
it's still,
you'll be able to see their fingerprints all over the movie.
And I even saw stuff with Donald Glover talking about how there was some, like he was allowed to do improv some stuff and things like that. And he was talking about coming up with like improv and doing jokes with like this alien puppet that was at the Sabak table.
Oh.
And like he said, he had more fun with him than like anything else he did in the movie. Because it was like two guys inside it was two guys controlling the puppet, and so like there was like two different heads, and like they both had different like characters basically, and saying how fun that was, like improving and doing stuff with that. So like there's still going to be, because they couldn't reshoot the entire movie, there's still going to be a lot of Chris and Phil's style in there.
Right. And Ron was saying also that he hopes people won't think of it that way, that it's half his movie, half their movie, that it's kind of a blended, it's just a thing that can stand by itself and won't be, mixed up in all this controversy and drama and stuff.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see.
I'm glad they said something about it. I think that's,
yeah.
Because before with all the rumors, I don't think it was fair to Kathleen and fair to Chris and Phil either. Because both sides were being blamed by people.
Yeah. Whereas
it just seemed like it just wasn't.
It just didn't work out.
It was literally a conflict of style.
Yeah. Right.
Like they originally said, it was just a difference of.
And if they're gonna keep, if Lucasfilm is gonna keep doing this thing where they, pull in just different people that want to be involved in Star Wars, you're gonna get that eventually.
Right.
The more news I hear about this, and now finally with this article, the less I'm, Phil and Chris, there's no way that they could have screwed us up.
You were really,
I was really on their side.
You were pretty unhappy with it at first, when it first happened. Whereas,
but now it makes completely,
completely
sense.
Especially people who are bitching about Kathleen, like she doesn't know what she's doing. Look at, and we've talked about it before. Look at Kathleen's
Look at her body of work. I mean, it's incredible.
She knows exactly what she's doing.
Yeah,
she's an amazing producer, and she knows how to get movies made.
Yeah,
and to make sure movies are being made well. She's not just throwing her money at it, but she has a good opinion about how this works.
Right.
Whether people agree with that or not, I fully agree with Kathleen's choices, because everything film wise that has come out has been
right.
The ones that she's like, especially these like ones that are bigger movies, she's done fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially now with this article, I would trust her final decision about any kind of, any creative decision or anything. The way that she's kind of tried to stay out of things as much as possible and stay out of these directors and writers' way,
Yeah.
and let them do their own thing. And then obviously only
She
having to
has to
step in when she has
to make sure it actually happens.
Yeah, which is, I mean, it's exactly what a producer should be doing.
Right.
It just, yeah, I would trust her.
Yeah.
She's done great. She's still doing great. Keep it up.
You get a raise, Kathleen. Speaking of bringing in other directors and people, there's
I was gonna say, speaking of a raise, do I finally get my raise?
Yeah. 2 more sips of water.
I've got bad news for you, Mark.
We
are not paid.
Podcast is letting you go.
Oh no!
It's not me.
Oh, no!
It was the equipment.
It's not me. It's you.
It's not me. It's literally you. You're a horrible person. You suck. Please.
Oh no. Oh, I understand. Well, okay.
Oh yeah, I do. You're right. Thank you for the opportunity. No, speaking of bringing in other directors, so we know Rian Johnson's making a trilogy, which they said it was a trilogy.
And we're here to announce Rian Johnson is now directing this podcast.
Take it away. Nope.
Oh.
The guys from Game of Thrones, the writers.
Those guys.
The creative minds.
The
that
white
brought
guys.
You nudity.
The white guys that like nudity are directing Star Wars.
Yeah, the Game of Thrones creators David Benioff and D.B. Weiss are going to write and produce a new series of Star Wars films. They're
fixed now.
That is once again not related to the Skywalker saga. Interesting.
I don't really have anything to say about that because I've never watched Game of Thrones.
It's whatever.
I think I tried to summarize on here one time what I thought it was.
You did. It was bad. So it's whatever. It's Game of Thrones. It's hugely popular and it looks good. I don't really like the writing, but that's not all necessarily their fault because they're pulling from a source material that's I also don't like the writing of.
What's wrong with it? I've never seen it. I don't know what.
It's not my thing. Tons of people like Game of Thrones, mostly because of I think the violence and the nudity.
Oh, all the nudity.
It's
not into nudity, huh?
Game of Thrones is as good as Walking Dead, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, bless.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel. But they also are having to pull from another guy's...
Speaking of nudity in The Walking Dead, did you see that they're going to feature a fully... This is real. This is 100% real.
Sure.
Do you know what I'm about to say?
I have no idea.
Really? This is a completely real thing that just was announced recently, that they're going to feature on Walking Dead, this new season coming up, the first fully nude zombie, because that's what everyone is looking forward to.
I've been waiting for rotting dicks.
They didn't say whether it's male or female, so you still have that imagination, the old imagination gears up there.
Giant fan of swinging tatties, but when they're hanging by a thread from the
literally
molting corpse of a person, great.
So that's a good segue. Now going back to this stuff,
going back to Star Wars. So that's fine. It's the Game of Thrones guys. I find it interesting they used specifically the term when Rian Johnson's was announced. They called it Rian Johnson was directing a trilogy or creating a trilogy of Star Wars films.
Yep.
They're calling this a series.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you say series, that leads me to believe it's one more than two. Not A, more than two.
At least.
A, more than two.
Yeah.
B, if it was 3, it would be called a trilogy. So if it's a series, is it more than 3 films? Or are they calling it a series because they have no idea because they've not made up anything yet to know how many they're making?
It was literally just, hey, we want to get some of
We
Star
hired
Wars
these guys
money.
to make a Star Wars thing. We don't know how many or what yet, but they're here to do that.
It's going to have Star Wars in the title.
Right.
That's for damn sure.
So I find it interesting that it's going to be called a Star Wars series. And they did say it was films. It's not like they're doing the streaming TV show.
But we were talking before we started recording that it sounds like they want this involved in the new Disney streaming service somehow.
This movie?
The series.
Well, it was announced at the same time that he was talking about the streaming, right? It was announced closely to that.
Did they make the connection?
How they were saying that they were going to be making original Disney movies for the streaming service as well.
Yeah. He specifically said 4 to 5 original movies a year.
Right. So is this going to be like straight to Netflix type exclusive Star Wars series on
I think so.
the Disney streaming service?
I think so. Because these
I mean,
guys
coming from Game of Thrones, who are used to doing the TV
they
thing,
do TV. Yeah.
that could be interesting. I mean, that I would feel better about them doing that than having more theater films.
So then, like we were talking about a while ago, this is going to be like the new Marvel, like the
But
Netflix
movies.
Marvel stuff, but movies. Yeah.
Possibly, because if you think about it, we don't know what's happening with the saga films after 9, but we have a
Right.
trilogy from Ryan Johnson.
Well, the saga is officially ending.
Is
That's
it?
what I think. Yeah, the Skywalker saga is over after 9.
The Skywalker, but will the saga?
Oh, well, okay. So
Continue.
there was that quote from, who was it? Ryan or somebody was talking about how what Poe, Finn, and Rey are going to come back in some
Right.
form
Probably.
in the future.
So whatever saga film that is, that may still be continuing. We have Ryan Johnson's trilogy that's happening. I assume we'll still have more Star Wars stories films. And then if we have these guys,
so the Ryan Johnson trilogy that was explicitly stated was not going to be a
not
Skywalker saga.
related, in a different part of the galaxy with different characters that we've
Yes,
never seen before.
Right. Stuff we've never seen before. Right. And then now this stuff, which is also, they were saying, is not the Skywalker saga,
Exactly.
separate from it.
So that would be possibly 4 kinds of films in existence for Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So Star Wars stories, these guys, the Game of Thrones guys, Ryan Johnson, and some kind of saga.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of Star Wars series and films going on at the same time, where we can conceivably have 2 Star Wars movies a year or more.
Uh-huh.
So it would make that's getting really, really crowded and overpopulating Star Wars. it would make sense for it to go to the streaming service.
I mean,
me.
you didn't think that before we got this 6 month after Last Jedi Han Solo movie?
That does feel. I mean, it definitely feels overcrowded. I don't know why they didn't push it, because we don't have another movie. Other than we know when 9's coming out, I don't know why it wasn't pushed. It just doesn't make sense to me.
I'm not going to say at this point that this is too much.
It's close.
It's very close, though. It's a lot. There's
If
a
we
lot
also
of,
have a Star Wars TV show with 4 different sets of films,
I mean, it's just a...
it is oversaturation of Star Wars, which I can't conceive that term.
Because we've never had it ever
Right.
before.
Is there at some point?
Well, okay, that's a matter of opinion, I guess. A lot of people would probably say that Star Wars overdid its welcome after the prequels.
Well, yeah.
Overstayed? Overdid? Can
Over
you overdo your welcome?
overstid.
I just did my welcome too many times.
So it's getting very saturated.
It's definitely Star Wars.
Yeah. But I don't know. So if it's a Star Wars, if it's a streaming service movie, it's not going to be very adult, because it's going to be on the Disney streaming service.
Mhm.
It's going to be as adult as the Marvel ones are on Netflix. If it's a film in theaters, do you think they would ever go adult with a Star Wars film? Because when this was announced, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, finally boobs in Star Wars." That was basically what everyone was yelling on the internet, because that's all they could think
Everyone,
about.
or is that what we thought?
No, that's what I saw on Twitter.
Oh.
It was like, "Oh yeah, Star Wars boobs, woo!"
All I saw on Twitter was people complaining about too much Star Wars,
Yeah, there was that.
or
and
complaining that
there was that and tons of articles like, "Are we finally going to get boobs or nudity in Star Wars?" Because this was announced, and that was like how they clickbaited their titles.
All I saw was the opposite of people saying, "Oh, what? So I can't take my kid to Star Wars movies anymore?"
Right, and then I heard the other people saying, "No, Star Wars should never have any nudity in it. It should always be for families and children, because Star Wars was created for kids, and Star Wars is a kids movie."
Which, okay, it's fine. That's a good point, I guess, but it doesn't mean we should.
It doesn't mean
never...
Disney's not going to do it.
And also, like we were just saying, there's going to be so much
So much. Star
so
Wars.
much stuff, media.
So
like,
what do you?
It's not like we're getting rid of Star Wars for kids.
Can you conceive there being adult Star Wars content?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Like
we
actually adult with language and nudity.
I don't know about nudity, but is there language though in Star Wars? I would say violence. Heavy violence would be the first thing we
Gore.
would probably get.
Like real violence. Maybe.
Chopping dicks off.
Just lining them up, chopping them off.
Oh.
Not when I say line them up, I more mean like a stack.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, it's real
I
complicated.
don't know how that works.
Real complicated. It's a lot of
And then just like
balancing.
you're slicing a sandwich. Boom.
Yep, just right through the ham.
Yes, I can see that happening.
I don't. It's so we've not. I mean,
But
we
it's
have
hard to imagine.
we have novels, and the novels don't have adult content. We
Yeah.
have the movies, and there's like the light language of hell and damn or whatever.
Yeah.
But no
Hell, damn!
damn hell, Luke. But there's no adult.
I'll see you in damn hell.
Right, but there's no adult content in the films.
Titillating.
And should there be Star Wars content that you could not show your children?
Should there be at all? Should
I think
it exist?
that's
You're
part-
just asking, should it exist?
I mean, I've seen that argument of no, Star Wars is created for kids, and
Yeah, whatever. Make it. I don't care. It's not like I just said.
Right.
It's not like we're getting rid of Star Wars for kids. It's not like
I
that's going
understand
away.
that, but
It's like the gay marriage argument
And
that
I
if
think
we
it's
allow
different-
gay marriage, no more
Right.
straight people. Like, that's the stupidest argument I've ever
right.
heard.
So, but the argument is also, I mean, obviously there's people who don't have kids. You're like, yeah, tits and Star Wars, woo, and they don't care. But like, I have a son, and he's gonna
and
be
dicks. Let's keep us equal.
sure. We're gonna have dick tits
Swinging.
on in Star
no.
Wars.
Uh-oh.
But
You
say
got a case of the dick tits. I'm sorry.
and on a Monday.
Your Monday dick tits.
But like me as a father who has a kid, because I'm a father, that's how that works.
Dick tits?
Nope.
You do get dick tits. It's a little-known fact. You do
Because-
get dick tits when you become a father. It just happens.
You
I'm
can't
sorry.
help it. Yeah, it just happens overnight. But like, I have a son, and he's 3. So like, even like right now, the Last Jedi would be too much for him to watch.
Yeah, probably. It's a little intense.
So like, I don't like even like watching Empire Strikes Back. He watches it with me. I don't let him watch it by himself.
Well, think
because
about
of stuff.
like you have to tell him. Oh yeah, you can't go see this movie about a guy
Right,
that
so-
dresses up as a bat and runs around. You know, it's the same thing.
Sure, I guess. But like, say he's 10, and you can't watch this Star Wars movie yet because I don't approve of the content. Sorry.
I think that's fine. There's
Sorry,
gonna be
guy.
plenty of other things to watch.
Sure.
Let's say, okay, so the
I
7
don't know,
years,
I struggle with that thought of there being Star Wars content that you can't show a
7 years from
decent
now,
aged child.
7 years from now, Star Wars is going to be old hat for sure. It's either going to
Will
be
Disney
done
right?
or it's going to be completely run into the ground and have jumped the shark. I mean,
I don't
at the
wanna-
rate
I don't
things
want
are
to think
happening-
about that, but
I know.
It's
I'm just saying,
conceivable,
at the
sure.
rate things are happening, unless everything that's put out is just excellent, which I highly doubt that's going
you
to be the
can't
case.
put out that much stuff without some of it being shit.
Yeah,
It's
Iron
not-
Fist,
It's not,
for example.
right. It's just not possible.
You're going to end up with a Star Wars Iron Fist at some point. You're going to end up with Star Wars.
I feel like Kylo is already the Iron Fist of Star Wars.
I don't know. I'd say Poe probably is Poe.
No,
Yeah, I don't like
Kylo's annoying and horrible at what he
Poe
does.
is way more obnoxious than Kylo Ren.
At least he has.
Kylo Ren is. He's got high pants. I mean, come on. You can't say anything bad about high pants.
Sure.
Those high pants. I mean, come on.
Why not?
Need I say more?
If you're gonna compare the two, Iron Fist has a purpose for this whole.
Iron Fist has low pants and Kylo has high pants. His pants are literally higher than Iron Fist. Case
If
closed.
you think about Iron Fist, he has like a purpose and there's a storyline, and he's like the ultimate thing that's gonna happen, and he has to learn his way. Kylo is this thing, and he has a purpose, and he has to learn his way, and he's a piece of shit the entire time, and you never like him the whole time, but he's got to do this thing.
He didn't kill his mom. You got to give him that.
Yet.
Huh? What do you mean yet? Oh, I guess
That's how the
she's
next one starts.
She's technically alive, I guess, in canon
For now.
so far.
Yeah.
Bummer.
The next one starts. He walks into a room, and Hux is like, "How did you kill your mom?" That's how they explain that away.
They're like sweating and pulling on their collars.
Ugh.
I think we've talked for way more than we need to.
Probably. So it's something to think about. Tweet us with what you think about the fact that there could be adult Star Wars content. Should there be? Shouldn't there be? And why not? Because I think that's a really, for people who are not assholes, who could literally talk about that and it not be a shouting match, I'm very interested to hear the opinion of people who think that there should not be adult Star Wars content and why, and people who think there should be adult Star Wars content and why. Because I think it's a valid conversation that can be had without people just screaming at each other over the internet.
Sure.
Because I find it an interesting conversation because I don't know where I land on it yet.
I think, honestly, there's a more valid argument for there not being adult content.
Yes.
Than there is for it existing. But I think just as a matter of, I mean, like, just statistically, you're going to eventually have content, more
likely.
violent, maybe with nudity, maybe with language.
But it's also coming from Disney. Can they...
could
they do that?
We've talked about that before, too, with the streaming service. Are they going to have grittier, darker shows like Netflix does up there?
Yeah,
or is it going to be all Disneyfied?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting conversation. So tweet us
at
what you
us.
think about that at Hokey_religion. And if you ever feel like emailing us, you can email us at asklobot@hokeyreligion.com.
Mm-hmm.
And
fax us.
You can fax us
Ask
to our email
Lobot.
address.
Fax us with your computer via email.
Yes, thank you. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube and, like I already said, Twitter. And if you really enjoy the show and when we're not having technical difficulties, want to watch us...
Is that what happened?
Yep.
Want
to watch the live streams of our recording sessions and seeing our wildly waving hands and...
Except this one. You can't have
stupid
this
faces.
one.
This one is one of those technical difficulty times. You can go to patreon.com/hokeyreligion, and for as little as $1 a month, you have access to our live streams, and there's other perks. For $2.50, you will mail you a sticker. If you want a sticker for $2.50, just do it 1 month on Patreon and then cancel it the month after.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
That's all you have to do is sign up, let it charge your card once, then immediately cancel it.
Yeah.
We'll have $2.50 and you'll have a sticker eventually in 4 to 6 weeks.
And the sticker probably costs more than $2.50 and we have nothing. But thank you for your patronage.
We've already paid for the sticker, so it doesn't matter, right?
Sure. The money just it's back. So yeah, patreon.com.
We'll put up a video of us dancing to Hamster Dance.
Oh,
right?
We have to make that?
Yeah.
Tonight?
Well.
All right. And you can also please go on to any place that allows reviews and our stars or other symbols of approval.
Symbols of what?
So yeah.
White power.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Go on iTunes and leave us a review with some stars and some words. That helps people find the show. So you don't have to physically tell someone you enjoy the show. You can just tell them there. They won't know who you are, and you don't have to feel guilty for people finding out that you like this crap.
I'm sorry about the white power thing. That was a joke.
We've got white power. We've got the space Asians. It's this whole episode. It's done.
Good thing there were technical difficulties.
All right, that's enough for this episode. Thank you for listening. This is Tyler.
This is me.
Goodbye.
Michael. And here we go.
Hokey religion is an ancient weapon. Hokey religion is an ancient weapon, for no match for a good blaster at your side.